Today we're getting into the latest Tesla news, including massive US battery expansion, what the 450-mile Chevy means for Tesla, Tesla expanding in India, and more, so let's get into it. First up today, Tesla has been considering several locations for their next factory, and now India is being considered. Just recently, Tesla applied for an expansion to Gigafactory Shanghai, and at the same time, Elon met with the president of France to see if Tesla could potentially build a new factory there. Expansion is definitely on the mind as Tesla works to reach their goal of producing 20 million cars annually by the end of the decade. India is the most populous country in the world, and Tesla has yet to enter their EV market, though they've been trying to for a while. In 2021, Tesla officially incorporated an Indian company in the capital of one of India's southern states. That summer, Indian government officials said they were considering Tesla's proposal to lower their import tax for EVs, but that never happened. It sounds like they've prevented many Chinese EV makers from entering the Indian auto market as well, which could be very good news for Tesla if they do enter this market. There are many domestic EV makers in China, which Tesla has struggled to compete with in that market. When entering any new market, though, Tesla likes to test their vehicles in the country with imports. They do this to see if they need to make changes to their existing vehicles before entering production. But with a firm import tax rate that can reach up to 100%, they've been in a stalemate with the Indian government. In 2022, they announced they would no longer be pursuing a relationship with India and started reassigning the employees they had there. Now, after years of negotiations, Tesla is considering building a new factory in India. Reuters reports that Tesla Inc. has proposed setting up a factory in India to build electric cars for domestic sale and export, the car maker told government officials on Wednesday, according to a source with direct knowledge of the matter. Tesla is reportedly no longer discussing lower import taxes, and senior Tesla executives are in India currently to meet with government officials about local sourcing of parts, as well as other issues. Reuters reports that a top supply chain executive from Tesla is speaking with the Indian government's Electronics and Information Technology Ministry. The most recent updates from these meetings is that they've been focusing on government policies on incentives for manufacturers and consumers in India. Reportedly, a Tesla insider told Reuters that they're still testing the waters and trying to understand the local policies. None of this has been publicly confirmed by Tesla or representatives of the Indian government, so if this information is true, they're still in the early stages of making a factory in India actually happen. Tesla has had to completely change their sales strategy in order to compromise with India's trade strategy, but that'll be a good thing in the long term. This is a brand new market for Tesla with not a whole lot of competition in the luxury EV space. It would also be a great place for them to start producing their $25,000 EV on their next-gen platform, since a larger portion of their market is small cars. Tesla's presence in India could eventually be huge for their supercharger network too, since India doesn't currently have an established fast-charging infrastructure like China does. This is all still pretty far in the future though, so we'll have to see how these talks pan out in the coming weeks. Next up today, Elon Musk has announced a Cybertruck production estimate, and it might be lower than many are expecting. The demand for this unique truck is pretty high, with Tesla reportedly receiving over 1.5 million reservations. While those reservations were just a $100 deposit, that's still a lot of interest. Elon has said for a while that production will be slow to start, so we won't really see volume production until 2024, but we haven't heard a number for their annual production rate until now. In the Q&A portion of Tesla's annual shareholder meeting, a Tesla shareholder asked about their planned peak production capacity for the Cybertruck at Gigafactory Texas. Elon responded by saying, "We are likely to make 250,000 a year, maybe more. It depends what the demand is like." He added later that the number could be as high as 500,000 units a year, and that it will be hard to make the Cybertruck affordable. We've known for a while now that the pricing originally announced for the Cybertruck at its unveiling is now unrealistic, especially with the inflation we've seen in the past year, but a lot of order holders may have been expecting the price increase to be minimal. This truck will be competing directly with the Ford F-150 Lightning, which now starts around $60,000, so it's probably not going to be less than that. Tesla usually rolls out higher spec trims first as well, so I'm predicting the first Cybertruck we're going to see will be probably upwards of $80,000. Of course, official pricing has not yet been released by Tesla, so there's still hope that it'll start lower than that. One big piece for the Cybertruck left to hear is its range. GM has announced a range for their new Chevrolet Silverado EV work truck, and it's higher than expected. They first announced this truck in January of last year and claimed that even though they were releasing their first electric truck later than the competition, that it would be worth the wait. At the time, they estimated it would have up to a 400-mile range, range, which was already impressive, especially considering this truck seemed a bit more real than the Cybertruck's 500-mile range, at least at the time. Now, though, that estimate has turned out to actually be conservative. The new estimate is 450 miles, which blows even the top trims of the Ford F-150 Lightning out of the water. The extended range Lightning, the Silverado's main competition, has an estimated 320-mile range. It also tops the even pricier Rivian R1T, which has a 328-mile range in its top configuration. Rivian does have a larger pack on its way, but it won't top 450 miles. In their announcement, the company said the Silverado EV work truck's EPA estimated range is in 450 miles on a full charge. With this official estimate, the Silverado EV WT is expected to offer over 100 miles more than the closest on-sale competitor. They have to specify on-sale competition because the Cybertruck is yet to be released, and it'll have an estimated range of up to 500 miles if Tesla delivers in that aspect. GM explained this additional 50 miles of range by saying our engineering team long targeted at least 400 miles of range, but they were able to go above and beyond to achieve this increase. Over the past several months, extensive development and testing unlocked the increased 450-mile range. They also said this truck is capable of 350 kilowatt fast charging. That'll be great for charging speeds as long as owners are able to find fast chargers that are that fast and reliable. In my experience, that's unfortunately not the reality in many areas, as I frequently reiterate for good reason. The 450-mile range is a big deal because it presents true competition to Tesla, though. While Tesla announced a 500-mile range for the Cybertruck, I often worry that they will once again take the approach of a smaller battery pack in this truck. Most people don't need more than 300 miles in their EV, and Tesla has not shipped any of their promised longer-range EVs like the Model S Plaid Plus or the Roadster. The Model S Plaid Plus should have gotten 520 miles of range. For the Cybertruck, though, this Chevy may be true competition. 450 miles of range and 350 kilowatt charging could be a great real-world combo, allowing people to tow for long enough distances. A 300-mile Cybertruck would leave a lot to be desired there. Of course, there are battery pack size considerations, though. If Chevy is simply slapping a large battery pack on this truck to achieve its range, it may not be able to ship for a reasonable price and could cost a lot of time and money to charge. GM also announced a smaller battery pack, though, that gets a GM estimated 350 miles of range on a full charge, which they plan to release soon after launch, but they didn't reveal a specific time frame for either trim. They did say, though, that they're still planning to release the Silverado EV this spring, so that should be in the next month. Additional specs for the first edition are 510 horsepower, 650 pound-feet of torque, 1,200 pounds of payload capacity, and 8,000 pounds of towing capacity. Then a max towing package coming in 2025 will increase that towing capacity to 20,000 pounds. As always, scaling is the name of the game here, and nobody will care if Chevy will only make a couple hundred 450-mile range Silverados each year, so we'll see how this develops. The fact that GM increased a 400-mile range to 450, though, could be a good sign for the engineering of this truck, and I hope it pushes Tesla to actually make a 500-mile Cybertruck. Next up today, one of Tesla's main battery cell suppliers is Panasonic, and they've just announced a huge North American expansion to keep up with growing EV demand. Elon Musk has said many times in the past that the limiting factor in producing EVs is battery cell production, and more automakers are starting to finally understand this. It's a big reason we're starting to see brands like BMW, GM, and more plan far into the future by investing in battery manufacturing. In the past, electric cars were such a niche product that buying them from suppliers was no problem for these companies. Now they not only need to be able to find them for cheaper, but they need to find enough of them in the first place. While companies are making plans here, Tesla's biggest supplier is Panasonic, who they work with at Giga Nevada. An increase in that specific area could have huge implications for Tesla's vehicle production rate. Tesla is already planning on scaling up 4680 production at their own factories, continuing growth at Giga Nevada, and then recently got into lithium refining with a groundbreaking ceremony. At the same time, though, Panasonic's expansion plan includes constructing at least 2 new battery cell production facilities in North America. Back in April, they suggested one of these might be in Oklahoma, but Panasonic's CEO said recently that Nevada or Kansas could be possible locations as well. They haven't confirmed any specifics yet, though, regarding location or their estimated investment. At the same time that these expansions are happening, Panasonic is working quickly to improve their battery energy density. As part of that investment, they'll be building 2 new R&D labs in Japan. One will be built in Osaka in 2024, and another in Kadoma in 2025. Big investments in R&D for one of the most successful battery manufacturers will hopefully mean range increases in the EVs that use those batteries. It could be that, or at least more efficiently built vehicles that don't use as many battery cells. Improvements there truly have a huge effect when considering the long-term scale of battery supply. Tesla is one of Panasonic's largest customers, and they're ramping at the same time, so it's good to hear Panasonic is up to this challenge. This is a two-way street after all. Tesla needs this amount of battery cells from Panasonic in order to achieve their production goals in the next decade. Tesla is very dependent on them, so hearing news like this is great. It should very much help Tesla keep growing with the reliable cells they've had on hand, while also introducing their new 4680 batteries. At the same time though, Tesla will find a way if Panasonic doesn't keep up, so Panasonic is dependent on Tesla here. Panasonic will also need to come through on their own 4680 cells, which will likely become increasingly important for Tesla's future products. Panasonic's goal is to reach a production capacity of 200 gigawatt hours by March of 2031, which is over 4 times their current capacity. These new factories are going to be necessary to achieve that, and I'm excited to see them come together. This investment is big and necessary for Tesla's growth, but also the entire electric vehicle industry. Next up today, Tesla has released a new video featuring the Tesla team conducting field testing on a black Model X and Model Y outside of Dubai, where temperatures regularly exceed 120 degrees Fahrenheit with a humidity of up to 90%. In this video, they're focused on mileage accumulation, hot weather-related tests, and product launch testing, but they've conducted similar tests in Norway in the opposite extreme weather. The purpose of the testing is to ensure the vehicle's reliability and safety in the most extreme climates, pushing these cars to their limits, and to identify any potential issues. They drove between 250 and 400 kilometers a day, or 155 to 250 miles, charged at superchargers, and maxed out the air conditioning and cabin overheating protection features. They also parked in the sun for extended periods, and the color of choice for their cars being tested is black because that color absorbs the most heat. They also navigated steep inclines and tight turns on mountain roads, which puts even more strain on the powertrain, cooling systems, and air conditioning. These tests are very important for Tesla to make sure that these cars can withstand all weather their customers are realistically going to be driving in. The Model Y was the best-selling EV in the US in 2022, and there are several locations here that get that hot, including Southern California, Arizona, and New Mexico. Next up today, some full self-driving updates. Tesla has rolled out some small improvements for their FSD software. Since it's the driver's responsibility to make sure the vehicle is under control, it's still considered a level 2 drive assist system, but it's being improved all the time with over-the-air software updates. The name is misleading for now though, and some have criticized Tesla for not emphasizing the importance of driver monitoring with both their autopilot and FSD packages. Now it looks like they might be working on that. According to Tesla hacker Green, they've actually started monitoring drivers' blinks and yawns to deduce how drowsy they are. They're even tracking drowsiness when not in autopilot by watching lane centering and the frequency of lane keep assist warnings and corrections. For now, they don't seem to have implemented any sort of system to act on this data though. What they have implemented though is the FSD beta version 11.4 update, which Elon Musk said earlier this month included major improvements. We've now learned that those improvements include better control through turns and smoothness in general, added lane guidance resulting in fewer false negative median detections, improved assertiveness in certain driving scenarios, improved motorbike recall and vehicle detection, reduced interventions by anticipating road hazards, improved lane changing, improved recall, reduced phantom braking, and smoothed in-lane offsetting. These might not seem like huge changes to the software, but it should make a noticeable difference in how the vehicle drives in autopilot and full self-driving. Overall, it should drive smoother, make fewer errors, and recognize objects better. This isn't the final update to the software by any means, and it's still level 2 driver assist for now, but these are the improvements Tesla needs to be making in order for it to actually become full self-driving in the future. They have a long way to go, but they are getting there slowly but surely. And I'm excited to see a lot of these improvements trickle down to the autopilot system, particularly with things like phantom braking. Last up today, some updates from other automakers. Rivian has some good news regarding their delivery times. The company told Teslarati that thanks to production ramps continuing to climb, customers can take delivery of an R1T faster than ever, and that starting May 13th, customers can reserve an R1T and take delivery in 14 days or less in some cases. That's not for every configuration, but it'll still be good to hear for those who have been waiting on this truck for a long time. The R1 models that are available in that 14-day time frame are coming in ready-to-go configurations in their R1 shop catalog, which is accessible to customers who live in serviceable areas of nearby Rivian service centers. Custom configurations will still have a delivery estimate between 4 and 16 weeks. One of the models, though, available in that short delivery window is Motor Trend's 2022 Truck of the Year, the Quad Motor R1 R1T. That one comes with their large battery pack, so it's one of their higher priced options, but that might be worth it for customers that are eager for a shorter delivery time. Ford has unveiled a new EV, the e-Tourneo Courier. It's a 5-seat multi-activity vehicle that's designed like an SUV with a compact city-friendly footprint. They are launching this smaller vehicle in European markets starting in late 2024, and it will come in gas and electric versions. Quote, inside the e-Tourneo Courier features the same dashboard design as the e-Transit Courier, with highlights including the so-called Digiboard instrument panel consisting of a full digital instrument cluster and Sync 4 infotainment controlled via the large 12-inch touchscreen. Ford hasn't detailed the battery pack size, but says it will do 100 kilowatt DC fast charging, allowing customers to add 54 miles of range in 10 minutes. They are going to be built in Romania, and for now these vehicles will only be available in Europe. It's reportedly too small for US customers. That's all the latest Tesla news for today, so in the meantime, if you want to see my full review of the 2023 Ford Mustang Mach-E, you can check out that video linked up here or in the description below. Thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you on the next one.